Hey y'all, this is Skylar the writer. Welcome back to my channel. This is where I talk about my life as a writer, and today that life is kind of tough, if I'm being honest. There's a lot to discuss, so strap in. I have a feeling that we are going to be here for a little while. If you've been following this channel since I began it about a month or so ago, you know that I have been struggling financially despite having built a successful career as an internationally published columnist and political commentator. There are reasons for this, and I've discussed them in another video. I don't need to go into that. What I want to discuss with you today is my decision to give up living on my own and to move back in with my family, and why, as a writer, I think this is the right decision. Now, to be clear, I could go out and get a job at a call center and make $17 an hour, but have to lock my phone away for 10 hours a shift, and that's just not something that interests me. This town that I'm living in, this apartment that I'm living in, simply aren't worth it for me. So your mileage may vary. I want to acknowledge that out front. My circumstances are very different than a lot of people's. I don't have children. I don't have a spouse. I don't have a family that I'm responsible for. What I do have is a dream buoyed by years and years of professional experience. And I'm not ready to give up on that dream yet. Writing is the only thing I know how to do. It's in my blood. It is the reason I wake up in the morning. Well, I've been writing professionally for 15 years, really 10 years consistently. I've been writing since I was 15 years old. I started my first blog in the summer of 2001. So that was 24 years ago now, which is hard to believe. And writing was the first form of communication I found where I could actually express all of the feelings that were swirling around inside of me. Because writing requires you to take a moment and really process your thoughts to form coherent sentences and to say things and to formulate ideas in a more cohesive manner than simply speaking. So for me, writing is incredibly therapeutic in that it helps me to grapple with the things going on inside of me. Right? I think that that's probably fairly common for writers, if I'm being honest. So when it came time to decide whether I wanted to go out and get a 9-to-5 job that would pay my bills, but was not writing or writing adjacent, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Now, don't get me wrong. I am actively applying for jobs. Some of them are doing exactly what I've been doing for the last 10 years, which is writing professionally, sort of political journalism, that kind of thing. But some are not. Some are more communications oriented. Some are with colleges. I'm open, right? But I'm at a point in my life and my career now where I don't want to go backwards. I've worked too hard, and too many people, including myself, but also my family and friends, have made sacrifices for me to achieve what I have achieved and pursue the dream of being a writer. I've had success with it in the past. I have no reason to think that I will not have success with it in the future. So now is a time for me to gamble on myself and to try and build this channel into something sustainable, to try and build my other YouTube channel into something sustainable, and to try and start a Substack that resonates with folks. Those are my goals right now. I also want to be able to work on my memoir and to write this fantasy series that's in my head. And I'm not going to be able to do that if I'm working 9 to 5 at a call center. And I'm not going to be able to continue to report and do the freelance work that I've been doing for years if I don't have access to my phone for 10 hours a day. There was actually a job interview that I had lined up and ended up canceling because of that exact reason. It was at a call center. It was going to pay $17 an hour. Actually seemed to offer pretty good benefits as these things go, but they were going to take my phone for 10 hours a day while I took phone calls from angry investors trying to roll over 401ks. And I'm sorry, that just wasn't something that was sustainable to me. This job was clearly going to demand more of my time and energy than I was willing to give for $17 an hour. That's chump change in this economy. It's not even enough to be able to afford a decent one-bedroom apartment in most places anymore. So when presented with the option of getting a crappy job that was outside of my field that would pay a pittance, or moving back in with my family and continuing to build a writing career and taking the time to find a job that I actually like and that pays a decent wage, I chose that option. And I don't regret it. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm happy about it. I'm not happy about it at all. But we are where we are. And when presented with two crappy options, I picked the least crappy option. Living with my grandparents again will free me from the stress and the worry of financial instability. I will have a roof over my head, guaranteed. That will allow me to focus on finding a job that I really want. It will also allow me to focus on creativity. Because I don't know about you, but for me, when I am constantly worrying about money and Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like the base level of it, food, clothing, shelter, it's hard to devote time and attention and energy to the creative process because you're in survival mode. And I don't want to be in survival mode. So I feel like if I go and take a job outside of my field, I'm stepping back, and in a way I'm giving up. And I'm just not ready at this age to switch careers and to try something new, especially when I am so very happy doing what I have been doing. And I've done it successfully before, as I said, so I know that I can do it successfully again. I just need a little bit of time and a little bit of help. I'm really lucky in that I have family who are willing to provide that time and that help. Not everyone has that luxury. Not everyone has a parachute. Not everyone has somewhere they can run to. And that's not just true of writers, that's true of all of us. So I am counting my blessings, but it does raise 2 points that I want to make before I conclude this video. One is just a simple observation that if you can't take care of your own needs, that it's incredibly hard to flourish. And for working class people, that is especially true now more than ever, perhaps, or at least more than ever in my lifetime. I'm almost 40, and I don't think I've ever seen hard times like we're seeing now. And this, again, is not just limited to writers. This is universal. But I do wonder about the squandered human potential when people cannot live up to their full potential because the economy is inherently rigged against them. Even at $17 an hour, 40 hours a week, that was barely going to cover my bills. And I am a single man living in a one-bedroom apartment in the middle of East Tennessee. So imagine being a single-income parent living in New York City or Los Angeles, or even in rural Kentucky or rural Montana or wherever you are. You're not going to be able to afford to live on this. So that brings me to my second point, which is really more of a question to those of you who are writers who do have to hold down full-time jobs or do have families that you need to take care of. How do you balance that? How are you creative when you're exhausted? How do you pursue your dream of writing while you are working a job that maybe isn't your dream, that maybe destroys your soul a little? Because we all know that a lot of jobs do that to work info. So I'm curious to hear from my fellow writers into how you navigate this. Because it sucks, right? Let's not pretend that this doesn't suck. It sucks. I'm not happy that I'm having to do this. But I also understand that I'm lucky in that I can do this when a lot of other really talented, creative writers simply don't have that opportunity. They don't have the same privileges that I do right now. And I feel for them, and I mourn for the amazing work that we're never going to see from writers who are toiling in jobs that they would rather not be toiling in simply because they need to make ends meet. If this video seems a little self-indulgent or self-pitying, I certainly don't mean it to be. I just want to start a conversation first and foremost, but also, if I'm being completely honest, I came on this, well, now it's afternoon, to play around with editing a video for the first time and to see how easy it is. And to my amazement, it's actually quite easy to do in iMovie. And so perhaps I will start editing videos and get a little more sophisticated in my output soon. I'm still learning the YouTube, but I'm very excited to be here. And this seems like a really great community that we're building together. I hope we continue to build it. And I hope that we continue to learn from one another and to grow as writers, as artists, and as people. I think there's a lot of potential in all of us, not just those who are watching this video, but in strangers you meet on the street. Everyone has unrealized talents. Everyone has dreams. And I want to get to a world where everyone can pursue those dreams and use those talents to make humanity a better place. And if that sounds a little altruistic or utopian, I'm okay with that. I think we need a little altruism. We need a little utopian thinking in our world today. There's too much darkness, too much bitterness, and yeah, things are rough right now, but I have hope that they can get better. I hope that you have hope as well, because we all need a little bit of hope right now. And we're heading into the season of hope, Christmas, which is my favorite time of year. And on that cheesy note, I'm going to say goodbye and get to writing, because it's not going to write itself.